This is a documentary about police misconduct. Warning. Explicit content, viewer discretion advised.
Public, when they get stopped, they simply comply with what they're asked to do. They have nothing.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
A dark shirt on the left side of the screen. An officer in a white shirt appears to punch her in the face without warning.
How much time we got? How much time we got?
Hey! You don't spit at officers! Dude, you think that was very cool? You spit. No, not whatever, dude. Sit up. Turn your head here.
Sit up, man. Sit up.
Sit up all the way.
Another cop was decent enough to help.
Yeah. The video, you can see the video before. What happened was she's sitting there talking to the cop, like saying, and clearly he says, "Come out, and make a phone call."
We investigate why a local man who committed no crime was nearly killed over a traffic ticket.
But these pictures speak for him. Confirmed by medical records, a crushed left orbital eye socket, multiple facial fractures, a broken left arm, loss of consciousness, a concussion, possible neurological damage. These pictures taken by officers on the scene after the confrontation with Officer Earl show a bloody Kozachenko lying on the side of the highway, his hands cuffed behind his back. Officers charged Kozachenko with driving over hours and DUI, but both those charges were dropped. Blood alcohol test came back at 0, totally clean. Finally, officers charged Kozachenko with misdemeanor resisting, obstructing, or delaying a peace officer. That was dismissed. Contends, quote, "The force employed was reasonable and not excessive."
New allegations tonight regarding this incident caught on cell phone video. The family of the woman seen being hit by a CHP officer has identified her as Marlene Pinnock. Tonight, they accuse the CHP of hiding Pinnock.
They simply comply with what they're asked to do. They have nothing to fear.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
New tonight, an elderly World War II vet is in the hospital with a broken neck, and witnesses are blaming it on a fight with an Orlando police officer.
That fight happened late last night in the 1800 block of North Orange Avenue. Fox 35 spoke to witnesses who saw it all happen.
Next thing I know, he put both hands on the cop's shoulder, not in an aggressive manner. The cop picked him up, flipped him in the air, and dropped him on his head.
Melissa DePani is live in Orlando with more. Melissa, this was all over the man's car being towed, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. This veteran is 84-year-old Daniel Daly. He was parked here in this parking lot on North Orange Avenue, just across the street from the Caboose Bar, which is where he was hanging out, and he saw his car being towed. He came outside and tried to stop it, and that is when things got tense. Now, Orlando police say that Daly was intoxicated and kept touching the officer. Then they say that Daly tried to punch the officer. Witnesses tell us that witnesses told Daly's son that the 84-year-old only put his hands on the officer's shoulder. Now, police say that the officer was defending himself and brought that 84-year-old to the ground. Seeing that he was injured, an ambulance was called to rush Daly to the hospital. Daly's son says that his father's injuries are substantial.
He's in the neurocritical care unit at Florida Hospital, and that his C1 vertebrae has been dislocated, I believe is the term they used. I was also told that 9 out of 10 people that have this injury do not walk away from the impact.
Now, Orlando police say that Daly is being charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, which is a felony. Greg Daly says that his dad will undergo surgery tomorrow for his injuries that he sustained in this incident. Live in Orlando, Melissa DePane, Fox 35 News at 10.
They simply comply with what they're asked to do.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
The video shows Ryan smacked in the head, a flash as the gun goes off. Prosecutors say that's contrary to the story Corporal Donald Taylor first told about being assaulted by an aggressive youth resisting arrest.
Surveillance footage from a security cameras allegedly captured the LAPD arresting Michelle Jordan, who was pulled over for using her cell phone, mind you. Security cameras from a Del Taco parking lot, Tahunda, shows 2 officers slamming a woman twice on the ground. Jordan, who's 34, was allegedly using her cell phone when LAPD proceeded with a routine stop. She pulled into the parking lot at a local restaurant where she got out of the car and confronted the officers. She was booked on resisting arrest and later released. LAPD Chief Charlie Book stated that proper steps were taken.
Green captured the incident with his cell phone's video camera.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, he seen me taping him, and he looked up at the camera a few times, and he still hit her like that. And I can't believe, I mean, he didn't try to defuse the situation at all.
Come on, this way.
Meet Brian Sterner. Broke his neck almost 14 years ago and is a quadriplegic. But watch what happens when Sterner, who can drive and was arrested on a traffic violation, gets to the Orient Road Jail.
This Deputy Marcia, she looked at me and she didn't believe that I was a quadriplegic, I guess. And she walked behind me with those handles on the back of that hospital-grade wheelchair and just dumped it straight forward.
Sterner says he tried to roll as he was going down, but hit so hard he thought he had broken 2 ribs. Then when he was on the floor, deputies frisked him and tried to get him back into the chair.
I told him how to pick me up and put me back in the chair, but without sensation. Like, I don't feel anything from my chest down, so I didn't know they were broken then. My ribs.
Riddell was taken to the hospital, then jail. She says she's lost 60% of her vision from the blows. 3 or 4 times he did this, he did not take us an officer car. The officer, Scott Crow, said in his report that he hit Riddell because she bit his finger, but the video shows him lunging at her, hitting her with both hands, making contact first. Riddell says officers
Sheriff's deputies, Randy McMillan and Timothy Stallcup, acting as school resource officers, tried to break it up. Investigators say 17-year-old Nino de Rivera tried to interfere, and McMillan tasered the teen. He fell, hit his head, and has undergone at least one surgery. They also tell us he is in a coma.
With what they're asked to do.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
He called Loganville police to his home for help and ended up being beaten up by officers.
Well, Fox 5's Caitlin Pratt is here tonight with that story. Caitlin?
Russ, Amanda, Kenny Dixon says he came home Wednesday to find his son had committed suicide. Crews responded to that emergency, but then Dixon says police made one of his family's darkest days even worse by attacking, then arresting him. Kenny Dixon has black eyes and scrapes on his face. Injuries, he says, that are in addition to his broken heart. The Loganville man found his stepson Wednesday dead inside his garage. The 24-year-old had committed suicide.
I tried to do CPR on him, and I couldn't bring him back.
When police and emergency crews arrived, Dixon says paramedics took over the rescue effort.
One of the police officers came up behind me, grabbed my arm, and said, "You need to sit down." Why he had an attitude, I don't know. But I jerked my arm away from him, and I told him, "Don't touch me." That's all I said to the man, and he tackled me.
Dixon says other officers then joined in. 2 allegedly held him down. 2 others punched him in the face.
What the heck is going on over there?
Across the street, Lisa Neighbors says she woke up to screaming and looked outside.
They were just wailing on him, punching at him. You know, it was awful.
I didn't swing at him. I didn't cuss him. I didn't do anything to deserve what they did to me.
Dixon says officers put him in a police car and brought him to jail. He's charged with felony obstruction. Loganville police leaders called the incident a, quote, regrettable situation. Dixon has filed a complaint. He and neighbors say they're disgusted and want some answers.
How could Loganville do that? How could they beat up on somebody who just came home and found their son hung?
Loganville police leaders say the 4 officers involved are still working. Police leaders telling me, Russ, Amanda, there's a lot more to this story. We don't know those details yet.
A cell phone camera was rolling on Sunday when a group of people got into some sort of confrontation with police. One of those involved was a pregnant woman who says she needed an emergency C-section after she was tackled by an officer, as seen on that video.
The video starts off showing police officers calmly standing around a group of people on the beach who a lifeguard said had been yelling, cursing, and disrupting families nearby. Eventually, you see a man walking away and yelling.
Hey, you can't do that! Hey, that's not come out! That's not come out! That's not come out! That's not come out! What the f***?
That's when police start tackling other members of the group one by one, including the woman in pink stripes. You hear people in the background screaming that she's pregnant as an officer struggles to get her in handcuffs. That woman started having labor pains while in police custody and later had to have an emergency C-section. And she'll be charged with assault and resisting arrest, along with Abdul and Saidu Kargbo and Muse Sese. Now, according to media reports, the woman was 9 months pregnant, and police say that her arrest process was halted when she started going into labor. We understand that the baby was delivered successfully. Police have not been specific about how the woman allegedly assaulted officers. Reporting live in the newsroom, Kai Reed, WBAL TV 11.
With what they're asked to do. They have nothing.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
Officers may have been on better behavior had they known they were going to be on camera.
How are you? Did I hear to? I don't think I hear to because I'm the police. Come back out here. Hey! Police! Right. So now you're heading off. Just wait up. Hey!
While she was handcuffed sitting on the floor, the officer struck her head. Keep an eye on the top left corner of your screen. Let the bigotry continue.
I want you to watch something that seems to show some police brutality. It also seems to show some deceptiveness, if not some downright lying. And it also seems to even suggest
suggest that there may be a cover-up going on. And when we see these things, we want to point them out to you. Show up. Wait till you see what was caught on tape. Roll it, Raj.
On the video, University of Maryland student John McKenna first appears skipping down the sidewalk next to Knox Road. He is singing a cheer celebrating Maryland's basketball win over Duke when he comes face to face with a Park Police mounted officer. He stops dead in his tracks and actually backs up. Watch carefully what happens now as he is slammed into the wall, knocked unconscious, and then beaten more than a dozen times by Prince George's County police officers. McKenna's lawyers say there is only one way to characterize what happened.
This is police brutality, pure and simple.
And Griffiths says the actual beating is only half the story. This is the sworn statement of charges against McKenna by the police. It alleges assault on a police officer and disorderly conduct. It claims that McKenna, quote, struck those officers and their horses, causing minor injuries, and that McKenna was, quote, kicked by the horses and sustained minor injuries.
Clearly the charging document is a lie. But you can see from the tape there's not a single fact in that statement of charges that's true.
We showed the video and charging document to Prince George's County Police Major Andy Ellis today. He says the Police Internal Affairs Office will begin an immediate investigation.
There are things in that video that concern me, Brad, and we're going to take a look at it.
Federal investigators will also be looking at the tape to determine if civil rights violations occurred. County prosecutors may now pursue assault charges. The officers involved are identified.
With what they're asked to do. They have nothing.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
All right, I'll take you through this. You see that guy right there on the phone? See, he's talking on the phone while his friend is being arrested. And he's calling his dad, and his dad apparently is a police official, and he's trying to get advice from his dad on what to do. And it doesn't look like he's being aggressive, but watch, a cop is about to go up and punch his lights out. Here comes the cop. And now watch. Does it look like he, boom, boom, and now to the ground he goes. There is a lot on this story. Michael de Herrera is the fella in the phone, and guess what? He's called into us, and we've got him now on the phone. The police officer says, in fact, I have one of these things right here. I'm going to read you what we're told the police officers say. They say that you spun to your left, attempting to strike me in the face, and that your fist was closed. Let's watch this together again. Do you attempt at all to hit him or strike him?
No, not like
Boom,
it's
boom.
clearly on that video. One of my hand is holding my phone. The other hand is holding my arm that's holding my phone. There's no closed fist. There's no blading of my body. If anything, I become introverted into myself.
All right, let me read you something else then. All right, here's something else that comes from the police. They say they have a witness that says that you, de Herrera, pushed another officer moments earlier and that the officer who hit you feared that you would do it again, that you were about to strike him. I should also share with our viewers that other witnesses dispute that you had pushed anyone at all that night.
A disabled man tased by a police officer on a city bus says he intends to sue.
This is security camera footage of a dramatic scene that unfolded back in May on a Centro bus. Brad Hewlett planned to do what he says he always does, ride the bus while standing. Hewlett suffered neurological damage in 1991 after being hit by 2 trains and is handicapped.
Because of my back feels better standing up than sitting down, and puts more pressure on the 2 herniated discs.
When the driver asked him to sit down, Hewlett refused. Syracuse police were called. Officers ordered him to get off the bus. He again refused, saying he was doing nothing wrong.
I paid to be on the bus, therefore I was not on there illegally, and I was not doing nothing that was not in my right.
Because Hewlett refused, after about a minute of back and forth, police took their response to the next level. The officer appears to lift up Hewlett's shirt and fires his taser gun. Now, Hewlett and his lawyer, Rick Guy, will sue the city of Syracuse, Onondaga County, and Centro. The case is based on what Guy says was excessive and unnecessary force.
And using a neurological weapon on somebody who has blatant neurological impairment.
Hewlett also says he was discriminated against in not being allowed to stand. He says other passengers that day were not forced to sit, and he stood himself on a different bus earlier in the day and many times before.
With what they're asked to do, they have nothing to fear.
Police are sworn to defend the Constitution.
simply comply with what they're asked to do. They have nothing to fear.
Simply comply. Police are sworn to defend the Constitution. Police beatings are unconstitutional and illegal. Police file false charges to cover their asses. Police use intimidation and other tactics to cover it up. Police misconduct is now an epidemic nationwide. Change is long past due. Raise your voice. October 22nd is National Protest Day. Stop police brutality, intimidation, corruption, and misconduct. You can make a difference. People do it every day. Don't miss your day. State-sponsored domestic terrorism has no place in the United States. It's time to police the police. Thank you for your time.